Can you all hear me well? Okay. Welcome to the second day of our webinar, which is entitled Light After Darkness. There will be light after darkness, becoming a community of solidarity and resilience. For the opening, I will just try to do a little recap for you on yesterday's proceedings, so that those of you who are here yesterday, you can be reminded again. And those who are new, maybe you will catch a bit of what a wonderful presentation that we have yesterday. The meeting was started by Joseph Kuhn, the General Secretary of CWM, who gave a very powerful message. And then we have two presenters yesterday on the issue of civil defense. Director Enoch Wu gave a solid and concise introduction to Forward Alliance, focusing on civil defense, volunteer corps, as well as civilian training in Taiwan. And former Ministry of National Defense, Professor Michael Tsai, tells us about how Taiwan is defying and repelling China's aggression. He specifically mentioned the National Defense Law, which really presents a total defense program, I think, which is very important to deter the Chinese penetration in all aspects of Taiwanese society. And following the two presentations, we have two panelists. Mr. Shoichi Konda from Japan, using a lot of examples, recent examples, to showcase how both religious and political movement can become a cult-like, movement, and with mind control, brainwashing, control the followers and create challenge for modern society. And he emphasized the importance of education and media literacy. And finally, the last panelist, Dr. Stephen Moore from Canada, gave us a good picture of cognitive warfare. And using the case of Finland, showcasing how the countermeasures can be learned, but both also in the elementary and secondary school level, which is very interesting. And he also mentioned religion can create some strategic spaces in the modern world, using social capital as a kind of influence. And I think these are the main speeches of last night. And during the Q&A period, there were two caveats presented for reflection. Joseph Kuhn points out there's this tension between peace effort and defensive measures. And using Korea and Taiwan as example, hoping that we won't go back to those terrible times in the past. However, on this, Director Enoch Wu points out the difference between conscription and civil defense, I think, which is also a good point. The second caveat actually came from Chris Ferguson, we will hear from him later. He reminds us that we need to look at things from a global perspective. There is not just the Chinese Empire, there are other empires. So we need to take all the empires into consideration so that the work of solidarity and resilience can show its multifaceted, aspects. I think these are some of the issues that we may be able to continue to discuss today. So now I will stop here and just offer two reminders. The first is we won't do the timekeeping today because yesterday, the time is quite well managed, but I will still ask the speakers to mind the time. So please try to mind the time. And all the participants, if you are not speaking, please mute yourself and unmute yourself when you are asked to speak. These are the basic rule that we are keeping today. So now I will offer my time to our first speaker today, Billion Lee, who is a co-founder of COFAX, and she actually does fact-checking works and has been doing so for the last 7 years. We will ask her to speak to us on fighting against disinformation and information operation via L chatbot. Now, Ms. Lee, the time is yours.